What is the address and city of your emergency?
I have to report a murder.
Okay, do you know who was murdered?
Yeah, her name's Tawnee.
I'm hearing little bits and stories from friends of Tawnee that Tawnee was living in fear of Vicky. We all loved her, but there was really something was not right.
Police say it happened early this morning as the couple was driving home to Salt Lake from Ogden.
News specialist Sandra Yee has been talking to the victims' relatives and is live with our top story. Sandra.
Police.
Tawnee Marie Baird was born on June 17, 1993. She was the only child of Casey Baird and Dana Marie Anderson. Her parents separated when she was 1 year old. Despite that, both parents remained actively involved in her life. Casey made a point of being present for every Thanksgiving and Christmas. Casey Baird worked as a rock radio DJ in Salt Lake City, a familiar voice on KBER 101 and Rock 106.7 for years. He described his daughter as his best friend. He called her his ladybug. By all documented accounts, Tawnee was sociable, outgoing, and optimistic. She had a wide circle of friends. She was enrolled at Salt Lake Community College and worked as an accounting assistant at Arnold Machinery. She had ambitions. She wanted to move to California. She talked about becoming an actress or singer. Friends described her as the kind of person who lit up a room. She was 21 years old. In June 2010, Tawnee was 17. She was in a car with friends when a police officer pulled them over. The officer found cannabis and a bong in the vehicle. Tawnee, the only minor in the car, claimed the paraphernalia as her own. Her friends were adults. She was trying to protect them from harsher legal consequences. She was charged with possession of drug paraphernalia. The court ordered her into a 90-day juvenile behavioral health treatment facility. Casey Baird, who had his own history with substance abuse, contacted Tawnee's probation officer and requested random drug testing. He wanted her monitored. He wanted her to get through it clean. Inside the facility, Tawnee felt out of place. The environment was not like anything she had known. Most of the other residents had longer histories of conflict, legal trouble, and instability. That's where she met another 17-year-old girl named Victoria Ashley Mendoza. Victoria had olive skin, long dark wavy hair, and large eyes. She was quieter than Tawnee, more reserved, less immediately social. Her background was harder. She had been in and out of similar facilities. Her mother had been diagnosed with cancer. She carried a lot. The two girls clicked quickly. Their friendship moved fast. Tawnee had previously dated men. This would be her first relationship with a woman. When Dana Gunn, Tawnee's mother, came to visit, Tawnee introduced her new friend. The relationship was now open. Tawnee was released from the facility in August 2010. She told Victoria she would wait for her. She kept that promise. By 2010, both girls were out of the facility and living in the Salt Lake City area. Victoria moved in with Tawnee and her mother, Dana Gunn, in Holiday. The Baird family did not just tolerate the relationship, they embraced it. Casey Baird treated Victoria like a second daughter. He helped her with school. He helped her find work. In the days before October 18, 2014, Casey was helping her purchase a uniform and equipment for a new job as a security guard. Dana Gunn later told the court, "She called me Mom. We would do anything for her. I loved her like a daughter." On the surface, the relationship looked like what it was presented to be. Two young women building a life together. Their social media presence showed exactly that. Posts, photos, and captions about their life, their bond, their love. The couple was visible online. They shared moments publicly. But behind the facade, documented in court testimony and police records, the relationship had a different quality. Friends who knew both women described a dynamic built on jealousy. Tawnee was naturally social, talkative, flirtatious in a friendly way, comfortable around people. Her girlfriend was not. She was insecure about Tawnee's personality, her social ease, and her prior relationships with men. She was described as controlling and possessive. At some point, Victoria cheated on Tawnee. The exact circumstances were never fully established. But the reason given, at least informally, to friends, was that she did it as a preemptive act, a way of causing pain before Tawnee could leave her first. The relationship broke down. They separated. It did not stay that way. Victoria made a YouTube video. She posted it publicly. In the video, she apologized to Tawnee. She said she was sorry for cheating. She asked Tawnee to come back. Tawnee took her back.
I have a lot of things on my mind that I want to say, but I keep going blank because I know that I'm recording myself and I know that I'm doing, I know that I'm on video and stuff, but I'm going to just start from where I feel like I need to start and end where I need to end. First I want to say is I'm sorry for hurting you and cheating on you with your best friend. And your best friend is a slut, and I don't like her. She's gross, and I can give a fuck less. Alright? So, this video is like an apology to you. And the girl I'm talking about is Tawnee. And I'm trying to get her back to be with me so I can keep her again and for her to give me another chance. Because I'm in love with her and I love her and I want her back. And I'll do anything I have to do to show her that I can be a better girlfriend. We met in Artec, and I liked you, and I wanted to get to know you and stuff. And one of the letters you wrote me in Artec, I read all the time because it meant a lot to me, and it's probably like one of my favorite letters I have from you or whatever. But it says, Victor at the top, and it says, I can't stop thinking about you. I can't stop thinking about you. Either I miss you so much, I wish so much that you were getting out earlier for real. I miss you so much now. I don't know how I'm going to be when I can't see you for that long. I like you so much, really. I'm usually different when I like someone a lot. I don't want to be with them all the time, and I don't always miss them as much as I miss you. It's different. I'm so happy that I met you for real. I talked to my aunt, and she said, right when you get out, we can hang out, because I told her, you don't do drugs and you want to do good when you get out. Whenever I see you, I just want to jump on you. You make me so happy. I'm not afraid to tell people I like you. It doesn't weird me out at all. My family, and some knows already, because I always talk about you, so I always think about you. I already really trust you, and I care about you a lot. When they're being assholes to you in Artec, it fucking makes me pissed. I always say something that, and I'm gonna wait for you, Kay. So don't think I'm going to be out here fucking a bunch of people. No way. You're the only one I want. And I promise I'm being serious about everything I say, Kay. If you think about it, you really meant that. And just look at all the feelings and everything we've been through when we first met each other on program and then when we got out. Besides the bullshit that I did and all the little notes that you wrote me and all this shit that you got me and all that shit means a lot to me. And I don't want to lose you at all. I really, really, really do love you, and I'm really sorry for everything I did. And I'm just wanting to have you back in my arms again and treat you better than I ever treated any other girl before. Sharon and Helen don't give a fuck what anyone says about this video. You guys can fuck off and go suck a dick. Because I want to be with somebody, and I'm going to do everything in my power to get her back. Instead of letting her walk free and letting her go with somebody else. That's not what I want. I want her with me, so I'm going to do whatever I have to do in my power. But until then, I'm not single. I'm waiting for somebody.
By June 2012, the Victoria's mother died after a long battle with cancer. The Baird family supported her through the loss. They allowed her to remain living with them. She had nowhere else to go. Approximately a month before October 18, 2014, Casey Baird noticed that Tawnee was missing a front tooth. He also noticed that Victoria had scratches on her face and an injury to one hand. He asked what happened. Both women told him they had been attacked at a party in Ogden. Casey accepted the explanation. He did not dig further. What actually happened? Victoria had struck Tawnee in the face, knocking out her tooth and leaving lacerations on her lips. When the couple went to the emergency room, both of them lied to the doctor and to the police present. All of Tawnee's friends knew the truth. None of them said anything to Casey. On the evening of October 17, 2014, Tawnee Baird and Victoria Mendoza drove from their home in Holiday to Ogden. Ogden was where Victoria had grown up. It was where her family was. It was familiar ground for her. The couple spent the evening visiting friends. Both women smoked marijuana that night. They left for home in the early hours of the morning. Victoria was driving. The drive from Ogden to Holiday on Interstate 15 southbound takes approximately 40 minutes under normal conditions. They never made it. Somewhere on Interstate 15, the argument escalated. Victoria later told police it started over a man. She said Tawnee slapped her and pulled her hair. She said she reached into her front pocket, pulled out a 4-inch folding knife she had been carrying, and began stabbing her. She did not stop. The medical examiner later confirmed 46 individual stab wounds. They were concentrated on the right side of Tawnee's body, her face, her neck, her chest. A blood swipe on the dashboard indicated Victoria had moved from the driver's seat across to the passenger side during the attack. None of the 46 wounds was independently fatal. Tawnee Baird died from shock and blood loss. Victoria drove off the freeway. She pulled into a church parking lot at 2484 East Avenue in West Ogden, the same church she had grown up attending. She parked. She did not call 911. She sat with Tawnee's body in the car. Instead, she called 2 mutual friends. One of them, Aaron Murphy, initially dismissed the calls as a hoax. She told him she was going to go to jail for a long time and asked him to tell people not to hate her.
Hey, where's Tony?
She's dead. Yes, I'm actually killed someone. She was searching me to look out. You don't understand. I went crazy, like I didn't need to do it, you know? And then I realized that's where the stroke was like. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so scared. You have no idea how scared I am.
Murphy called 911 and directed police to the lot.
What is the address and city of your emergency? I have to report a murder. Okay, do you know who was murdered? Yeah, her name's Tawnee.
Victoria also called her sister, Cindy Spencer. She said she had hurt her girlfriend. She asked Spencer to come. Spencer arrived before the police did. She found Tawnee Baird in the passenger seat, covered in blood, stabbed 46 times. Dead. Officers arrived within minutes. Victoria Mendoza was standing outside the vehicle. Tawnee Baird was still in the passenger seat. First responders confirmed no vital signs.
It was determined that Victoria had pushed Tawnee's body over to the passenger side of the vehicle before driving a while longer before calling her friend.
More news.
The family member was contacted by the suspect, and the family member in turn called 911.
This 22-year-old woman in jail tonight, accused of stabbing her domestic partner to death during an argument. Good evening, everyone. Police say it happened early this morning as the couple was driving home to Salt Lake from Ogden.
News specialist Sandra Yee has been talking to the victims' relatives and is live with our top story. Sandra.
We're live in Holiday, where police say Tawnee Baird lived with her partner, who is the suspect in this crime. Now, Baird's father on Facebook told me that he was on his way back to Salt Lake City tonight from a work trip out of state. But on Facebook, he did post that he was lost, hurt, and devastated over the death of his daughter. And he also said that he wants justice.
They were traveling back to Holiday.
But Victoria Mendoza and Tawnee Baird never made it out of Ogden. Police say the couple, who had been visiting friends, began to argue during the car ride home. They pulled into this church parking lot on E Avenue, where the argument escalated. Police say Mendoza stabbed her domestic partner to death, then called a family member who showed up to the scene and called 911.
But she implicated herself enough that, our initial response to this call was someone was reporting a murder.
They're now looking to see if there was any history of domestic violence. Tawnee's aunt, who declined to go on camera, says Tawnee was a student at Salt Lake Community College. She said her niece was a kind woman who loved her family. Police say a tragedy like this doesn't have to happen.
If anyone knows anyone that's in a violent domestic situation, feel free to report it to law enforcement, and so we can intervene before something like this takes place.
And this heartbroken mom tells me she wishes she could have done more to protect her child, and now she's urging victims of domestic violence to get out.
21 years she's been my baby, and it's not fair. She lights up her room. She's just always so happy.
A beautiful, blonde, 21-year-old college student, Tawnee had been dating 22-year-old Vicky Mendoza for about 5 years. They've been living in Dana's holiday home for 2.
I've taken Vicky in as a daughter, loved her. My daughter came home a couple months ago, just bawling in the middle of the night, woke me up crying, and her tooth was gone. And Vicky had punched her in the face and knocked her tooth out.
Dana always threatened to call police, but was always convinced not to.
They just begged me not to do it. I was so stupid. I should have done it.
By early Saturday morning, she says it was too late.
All of a sudden, see the policeman pull up. And so I knew,
Mendoza did not resist. She was handcuffed and placed in a police vehicle. She was transported to the Weber County Jail and booked on suspicion of first-degree felony murder. She was held without bail. In the early hours of October 18th, 2014, Casey Baird was not in Utah. He was in Alabama. His phone rang. He received word that his daughter had been killed.
He called me and said, "Casey, Vicky killed Tawnee last night." I said, "What?" "Vicky killed Tawnee last night. And she stabbed her to death."
At the Weber County Jail, Ogden Police Detective Travis Gerfen interviewed Victoria Mendoza. She said the argument in the car was about a man. She said Tawnee had slapped her and pulled her hair. She said she lost it. She said she reached into her front pocket, pulled out the knife, and began stabbing her. Prosecutors noted that bloodstain analysis on the dashboard was inconsistent with Victoria remaining only in the driver's seat. The pattern indicated she moved across to the passenger side. This was consistent with the wound locations concentrated on the right side of Tawnee's body. Victoria Mendoza was booked on suspicion of first-degree felony murder. Bail was set at $100,000, then revoked.
Felony murder charges in the stabbing death of her 21-year-old girlfriend, Tawnee Baird. Now, most of the hour-long hearing today was spent arguing over the bail amount for Mendoza and whether or not the accused murderer is a threat to the public.
Deputy District Attorney for Weber County, Chris Allred, admitted he was surprised to hear Victoria Mendoza's defense attorney argue she wasn't a threat to the public.
I feel our case is incredibly strong. There's overwhelming evidence, we believe. So I don't anticipate there being any problems. I don't know what sort of defenses that they might raise at this point, but I don't see any obvious concerns.
Mendoza's bail was initially set at $100,000. That amount was later temporarily revoked and a no bail order was set. Monday, the judge ordered to uphold the no bail despite the defense arguing it was preemptive punishment for Mendoza.
The argument was that it's against the constitutional requirements that she has, and that's the issue more than anything. My job is to stand up for the Constitution, and that's what I intended to do.
Family and friends of Baird left the courtroom happy with the judge's decision.
I'm very happy. The no bail. It's appropriate on a murder, 46 times stab.
I was really happy that we got the no bail for Vicky today, so they can see how dangerous she is and what she's done.
Judge Joseph Bean issued a no bail order after a contested hearing in November 2014, which was upheld. At the preliminary hearing in February 2015, Victoria entered a plea of not guilty. The hearing was difficult. Victoria wept at moments during graphic testimony about Tawnee's wounds. At one point, she interrupted proceedings and told the court she needed to be taken to the holding cell because she believed Tawnee's father, who was present, would harm her.
And the police only gathering more from friends and family. Her lawyers advised that she change her plea.
As she was being led out, she stated,
Mendoza eventually
"I'll just kill
pleaded
myself.
guilty to the first degree
Then you don't have to worry about me."
I understand that they're hurt and I'm hurt as well. I have no excuse for what I've done, that's the main reason why I pled guilty. I did knock out her tooth, but her family also covered it. I really have nothing to say. I'm the wrong, I'm the monster here, so.
This is a case that is not a life without parole case up to the board when she is out. A lot of things that could have been said, but the reality is no matter what happened, Ms. Mendoza took somebody's life and she's pled guilty to that, so we're prepared for formal sentencing now.
My daughter Tawnee had her whole life ahead of her. Tawnee was a beautiful girl with lots of wonderful aura. When she walked into a room, you could feel the love and see the wonderful personality of Tawnee. Tawnee had a lot of dreams, like being an actress, being in the music industry, among a lot of...
Her defense attorney, Michael Studebaker, indicated he intended to argue a battered partner defense. He cited the testimony of Victoria's sister, who said both women had been violent toward each other, and argued that Victoria had been living in an abusive dynamic. Tawnee's family rejected this framing entirely. On October 1st, 2015, Victoria Mendoza changed her plea to guilty. She did this against her attorney's advice. Her stated reason: "Doesn't matter if you're a battered woman or not, you just don't stab and kill someone." November 10th, 2015. The 2nd District Court, Ogden. Judge Joseph Bean presided. Tawnee's family addressed the court. Dana Gunn, her mother, spoke of having loved Victoria as a daughter. Her grandmother, Liana Anderson, said the family had spoken to both women about domestic violence and wasn't sure either of them truly understood what they were in. Tawnee's aunt, Holly Hansen, said, "Jealousy is the devil. It will kill." Casey Baird told the judge he had asked for life without parole. He expressed doubt that Victoria was genuinely remorseful. He said he believed Victoria thought Tawnee had forgiven her. Victoria Mendoza addressed the court. She said, "Everything they've said is very hurtful to me. I have no excuse for what I've done. That's the main reason I pleaded guilty. I really have nothing to say. I'm the monster here." Judge Bean stated his hands were tied. Because the case had not been charged as aggravated murder, he could not impose a harsher sentence. Victoria Mendoza was sentenced to 16 years to life in prison. Casey Baird said outside the courtroom, "I don't see what wasn't aggravated about stabbing my daughter 46 times and letting her bleed out, but it is what it is." In 2016, the Utah Board of Pardons and Parole reviewed the case and set Victoria Mendoza's first parole eligibility hearing for October 2039, 25 years after the murder.
Now, this morning, a judge handed down her sentence, but the victim's family says they're not satisfied with the court's decision.
It's clear that Tawnee was, I think, a bright light.
Victoria Mendoza accepted responsibility for the crime.
Of murder in the first degree, 16 years to life in prison.
Do I wish it would have been harsher? Absolutely. I asked for life without parole.
Family members say they understand the sentence, but think Mendoza should have been charged with aggravated murder, which could have carried a stiffer penalty.
I don't see what wasn't aggravated about stabbing my daughter 46 times and then letting her bleed out.
Court will remand Ms. Mendoza into the custody of the Department of Corrections.
In 2019 and 2020, the case was dramatized twice. Investigation Discovery aired an episode titled Fatal Facade as part of its Web of Lies series. Casey Baird told ABC4, "There's no remorse at all. She just thinks she's an internet sensation superstar." He added, "All I'm saying is shut Victoria Mendoza off. She's a murderer. She's a monster." Casey Baird spent the years following his daughter's death speaking publicly about domestic violence, particularly within same-sex relationships, where it often goes unrecognized. Casey Baird died on March 9, 2026. He was 58 years old. His radio stations, KBER 101 and Rock 106.7, confirmed his passing in a joint statement. He was preceded in death by his only daughter.